Thank you everyone for joining the Meridian NetSuite Partner Spotlight Series. Today we are featuring RF Smart. We have done some partnerships with them with our clients, and we're excited to go ahead and get started to learn more about who they are, what they do, and how they assist Meridian and NetSuite, and talk about their shipping solution feature. If you want to go ahead and go on to the next slide, Ruth.
Sure.
So again, today, RF Smart is our featured partner. We do have a series of these spotlights that we host every single month. Next month, we do have Merchant E that will be presenting on March 23rd at 11 a.m. Central. And you can go ahead and move on to the next slide. If you're not familiar with who Meridian is and what we do, so we are based in Kansas City. We also have locations in Omaha as well. We're an evaluation and complete NetSuite implementation service solution provider. We do configuration consulting, and we assess your business needs and your consulting. We utilize third-party solution analysis and research. We have a heavy financial and inventory management portion of our NetSuite practice, and NetSuite application and managed support services as well. Go ahead to the next slide.
Perfect. And I'll take it from here. Oh, sorry, Jen.
That's okay. Absolutely. Ruth, she will be presenting for RF Smart. And Ruth, go ahead and introduce who you are and what you do and take it away.
Thanks, Jenny. This is great. So thanks everyone for taking the time to attend. And what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about RF Smart, how we work with Meridian and NetSuite combined, and talk a little bit more about our solutions, and also talk a little about some things that are happening in the market. So I'll start with an introduction in a couple of minutes, and then I wanted to transition to talk about market trends and how we can kind of unlock product potential. Moving on to, as we look forward in 2023, I'm going to talk a little bit about our mobile dimensioning, and then also I'm going to talk about our shipping product as well. And then I'll do a little bit of a shipping walkthrough. It won't be a complete demo, but the idea is that you get an understanding of our shipping tool. And then later on, if you wish to do so, and you want to take a look at a demo, Meridian can certainly arrange for that. But I'll start with an introduction just so you know who I am. My name's Ruth Rosenstock, and I'm a Global Partner Engagement Manager here at RF Smart. And what that means is that I manage a team that manages NetSuite partners, so partners like Meridian. I've been at RF Smart for about 3 years now. And prior to that, I actually worked for NetSuite Direct for 10 years in the product industry. So completely understand NetSuite and RF Smart combined. And, it's important for me to stay within the ecosystem. I've been in the ecosystem for almost 14 years now. And it's a great system. It's a fantastic platform, and there's lots of benefits to organizations with NetSuite. So I'll talk a little bit about RF Smart to start. And you can see our mission statement at the top there that says to transform our customers and change lives. And we really do that because when you look at people within their organizations and how they're performing certain tasks, there's a lot of change that happens when you enter automation. There's a lot of change from how employees physically work with certain areas in the organization, whether they're managing inventory or building product. From a company standpoint and changing lives, we help organizations get a little more nimble and more efficient, and that really helps the customer or the organization really transform. Maybe they're taking on more competitors and they're becoming a leader in their market spot. Perhaps they're growing and adding more ability to their organization. When you think about a lot of the offshore manufacturing that's coming back onshore, we're seeing a lot of that. So those are companies that are changing what they've done for years. Maybe they were a distribution company. Now they're becoming a manufacturing company. This is really what we look at when we talk about transforming our customers and changing lives. When we talk about experience, our Smart's been around for 40 years. We're actually even around before ERP was even a thing. Where you want to kind of think about where we started is we started with those on-premise solutions like JD Edwards and Microsoft Dynamics. So think of those systems that have servers that are blinking in the back room, things that we just don't see anymore. But what's really important here is that the experience when we talk about supply chain itself, when we take software out of the element and we talk about supply chain and what goes on and what changes and what um, spires when things happen like a global pandemic. There's a lot of experience that goes into that supply chain. And when we look at the experience here at our Smart, if I look at the average employee and keep in mind we've grown a lot over the last couple of years, we're still sitting at about an average of 10 years. So that's important to you as an organization because when it comes to working with supply chain and supply chain software, you've got the experience behind you. So that's really what I mean by when we talk about extensive supply chain expertise. From a R Smart solution, we built the first WMS on the NetSuite solution. So that means as an organization, when you're working with R Smart, NetSuite's your system of truth. So if you're working with a company like Meridian and you're evaluating NetSuite as your business platform, if you're a product-based company, they may connect you with us and we would work with you and Meridian together to, get the right solution from a NetSuite perspective and then from a mobile supply chain perspective. But when we talk about development, we do lots of development throughout the years. We're constantly adding to our product solution. I'll talk about shipping about that. And then we've got, of course, 24/7 support because we are a global company and we've got 2,000 plus customers in 33 countries using NetSuite and our Smart combined. And then I spoke a little bit about being built on the NetSuite platform from a mobile supply chain solution. And I do like to touch on the fact that we're privately owned and debt free, because what that means to you as an organization is that we're not relying on PE firms. We're not in a situation where we're here one day and gone the next. Obviously, we've been around for 40 years, so we're not going anywhere. But the important part about that debt-free aspect is that we put thousands of dollars back into the organization to product development. So that's constantly churning to make sure that we've got the latest and greatest system that sits on top of NetSuite. So goals for partnership. When I talk about partnership, I just talked about the team that I head up. But when I'm talking about partnership here, I'm talking about partnership with organizations because as organizations look for business platforms to better their business, they're not just buying software, they're looking for that partnership. So, for example, if you work with Meridian, you've got a pretty tight relationship and partnership with Meridian because they are helping your organization use NetSuite, get you up live and running NetSuite, maybe optimizing NetSuite, maybe introducing us to help build a further partnership. Really, that's what I mean when I talk about partnership with organizations. The idea is that we're building champions. So when you're working with Meridian and implementing NetSuite, they'd be building a champion by making sure they become very self-sufficient on NetSuite because it's that type of system. But they're always there to help support you as a company. Same with us, when we're looking at the mobile supply chain piece of things, we want to build champions within the organization because we want you to be able to run your business best you can. And that means knowing the software and the business tools that you're using to do that. We want to help your company grow. Um, I've been in this space for 14 years, and it still remains that my favorite thing is when hear about companies growing and changing. I still talk to customers that I brought onto NetSuite in 2012 and 2011. And I love the fact that they're using NetSuite and some of them are using our Smart. I also love the fact that their company has grown and changed. So that's part of the partnership. Enhancing the NetSuite platform, we're helping to enhance the NetSuite platform from a mobile supply chain standpoint here at our Smart. Meridian's helping you enhance your NetSuite platform from optimizing and using more capability within NetSuite. So maybe that's working with planning and budgeting or other modules that are within NetSuite that can help your business from a business standpoint or enhancing that business application. And then, of course, customer success. We want you to be successful with the software that you're using so you can be successful and competitive into the market that you're working with. So those are all areas that I mean about partnership. So now I want to talk a little bit about unlocking the product potential with our Smart for NetSuite. So some of you may know, but we came to market with NetSuite as a WMS solution. So we had some real standard capability around mobile pick, pack, and ship, allowing more freedom within the warehouse or mobility or ability to walk around and scan the product and pick it. These were all things that NetSuite needed at the time when we built that product. Since that time, the product has launched into a lot more advancements. We still have that core piece of it, and I'll talk about how organizations may utilize that from small business to large business in a couple of slides. But the idea is that we've taken that product and we've had it, it's grown much more. So we've got areas around not just that pick, pack, and ship, but how we work in the warehouse, maybe how we work in the warehouse with being more strategic and working with pick plans. Maybe we're utilizing solutions like license plating to help manage pallets. There's manufacturing. We talked a minute ago about manufacturing coming onshore. So, how do we manage that from a mobile standpoint? These are all things that our Smart can help with from a warehouse management solution. I'm going to talk about shipping, but some of the reasons we brought shipping to light is because a lot of organizations wanted us to go from receiving that product from a mobile standpoint out to shipping. But I'll talk about some successes there in a few minutes as well. And then automation. This is something that's becoming really big because as we hear about economic differences and things that are going on, what's happening in the manufacturing and distribution environments, we think about warehouses, they're still short on labor. So a lot of organizations are starting to implement automation tools like ASRS. And really what that means is automated storage and retrieval systems. I get tongue tied when I say that sometimes. But the ability there is that think about it as this is really high level, so bear with me, but think of it as like a vending machine. So a very large vending machine that's got lots of storage capability. Maybe there's bins and things like that. As a picker, I'm going to go up to that machine and I'm going to key in a code and that product is going to come to me. And then I'm going to pull it out and then I'm going to go pack it. So a lot of organizations are taking this on, not just enterprise organizations, but also small and mid-market because they're having labor problems. They need that ability to have the product come to them instead of having the bodies go out to pick that product. And what our Smart has is we've got an automation module. And what that does is it sits in between the ERP, in this case NetSuite, and it sits between the automation tool, maybe it's that automated storage retrieval system. As that information comes out that product is being picked, just like it was being scanned, it's being picked, and that information moves right through the automation module into NetSuite. So NetSuite remains your system of truth. You know exactly what's going on from an inventory control standpoint. We introduced something called mobile dimensioning, which I will talk about in a couple slides as well. But the idea around mobile dimensioning is that it works with that automation module and pumps information back into NetSuite. But I'll touch on that a little bit more. And then there's printing. So we take you right from receiving everything in the middle, right up to printing labels and hardware. So the best way to look at our Smart is when you're looking at that mobile inventory solution, it's the software from picking all the way out to shipping. It's it's the advanced features in between. It's the hardware and the hardware support, and it's everything that you need from a printing standpoint. So think of those labels that are in a printer when you're shipping product. This is our Smart. We can take on that whole ability when you're working with NetSuite from a mobile solution. And this is great. I mean, pictures are a great way of looking at it. And for me, it speaks a lot. So this is what full visibility looks like. When you look at each area and we're talking about receiving that product in. So there's that picker. He's there scanning. Product comes in. It gets put away from that standpoint. Maybe there's a manufacturing environment where product comes in, we're building other product, then we're storing it on the shelves, and then we're selling that product. Inventory control, so important. All of these aspects of when you're working throughout a warehouse or manufacturing environment, you're enhancing that inventory control because as you're scanning product or building product and you're scanning it as you're building it, that information is in NetSuite immediately because we're built on the NetSuite platform. And then therefore the end user has that full inventory control. And really what that allows organizations to do is make proactive decisions instead of reactive decisions. When we talk about the fulfillment process, we have, maybe we're going out in the warehouse and we've got our handgun and we're out there and we scan the product and then comes back and that's already updated in NetSuite. And the idea around this from that fulfillment process is think about when you're using NetSuite. If you're a sales rep and you're using NetSuite and you need to know where the product is at any given time because you're on site with a customer, because all of these things are happening from an automated level and a scanning level and updating NetSuite right away, you've got the visibility into there. Or maybe you're a buyer in the system and you're in your NetSuite instance and you're looking at, we need to buy. Maybe there's a demand plan around that. There's all these abilities help update that and give the organization visibility. There's that automation. It's not quite like a vending machine, but it kind of, you get the idea. There's a little picture there of it. Shipping, and then of course retail. And when we talk about retail location, or it could be a situation of brick and mortar at a warehouse. Think of it that way as well too. But this is really what full inventory visibility looks like for an organization. So I talked about companies we work with and how companies come to us, and they come to us in all different shapes and forms. But I thought it might be beneficial to talk a little bit about emerging, mid-market, and enterprise and what that means. So there are very small organizations that go on to NetSuite. I'm sure Meridian has dealt with organizations like this where you've got your typical system of we're using QuickBooks and we're using spreadsheets, or maybe we're using Fishbowl and our systems are disparate and they're not connected and we don't have a real-time view. Well, that's where Meridian can come in and help you. They can help you analyze your business, get an understanding, and talk about how NetSuite can help increase the efficiencies within your business and having that complete flow. Then when it comes to inventory and looking at it from a understanding of we need to do pick, pack, and ship, we just need some basics. Well, that's really where emerging companies come in. It really comes into that improvement in accuracy and efficiency. Often those companies grow into mid-market companies, and it doesn't mean that the companies don't come to us at a mid-market level. They certainly do. But when we look at a mid-market organization, really what they're trying to do is think of the optimization phase in NetSuite. We're ready to add on more stuff. We want to add on. So we're going to talk to Meridian about adding more stuff onto our NetSuite instance. When it comes to our Smart, when it comes to your mobile inventory, this is where we see things like compliance and efficiency becoming a real stronger point in mid-market organizations because they're gaining more traction. They're getting more business. This is where that efficiency level becomes even more important. And then with enterprise companies, what happens is we start with that efficiency and accuracy, but then we've got compliance levels. We've got those companies that are dealing with FDA and different types of situations where they need to have that highest level in capability. And then also when it comes to that optimization and automation, those we talked about automation in a minute, but those automations can enter at the mid-market point as well. If we're talking about automation being those automated retrieval systems and things like that. But the idea here, folks, is that like NetSuite, you can start small and grow, or maybe you're coming to us at that certain level. But the idea is that we've got your back. We've got you covered when it comes to the efficiencies and what you need around compliancy levels and the fact that you can grow with your organization. And then I also talked about the hardware and support. So what I love about this is if you have a particular challenge and you need to work with support with our Smart, whether that's the software or the hardware or the printing or the labels that go on within those machines, you've got one number to call. We've got you covered for all of your mobile needs when it comes to mobile inventory. So we've got the professionals there. There's some neat stories here when you're configuring our Smart, you're going to go live. Part of the ways that we get the handheld set up is we actually program them on our side and then we ship them to the organization and then you're ready to go. So this is what helps get things up live and running quickly as well. And then it's intuitive, it's easy to learn, it's very user friendly, just like NetSuite is from that standpoint. So I'm going to pivot and talk a little bit about market trends. This is right up my alley. I will read survey after survey. I don't know why I find it very interesting, maybe because I'm in the supply chain space, but I find it extremely interesting, both when I was at NetSuite and here at our Smart. But There's a couple things. So in this particular case, I know that everyone can read the slides when we talk about a zebra study, we talk about a Deloitte study, and then we even did a study here at our Smart. But I think the big thing around here is that, we hear the noise out there, we hear the economic challenges. There obviously is inflation. We've gone through, a tremendous 3 years, from a global pandemic to shutdowns to lockdowns to countries being all over the place to getting back to life again. Often what happens when organizations hear things about economic downturn, inflation, they don't want to invest. What's super interesting is that when you look at the warehouse and supply chain and manufacturing environments, they still need lots of people. They're still like, there are still not enough people in these environments, because when the pandemic occurred, yes, there was shutdown and turn and change and all those things happened. But the other part that happened in the labor market was that all these baby boomers retired. So we had a double effect, because remember, like the baby boomers, that was a big surge in population right after the war. Well, as time went on, jobs were created and things move on, but now you had a group of people retire along with a global pandemic. But when we look at ahead and we look at what's happening in these environments, is that companies are actually investing in warehouse expansion. So you can see that zebra study that says 80% of the industry decision makers surveyed are in the process of planning this. When we look at the Deloitte study, it talks about 64% of inventory professionals surveyed are increasing supply chain investments. And then we did a poll and we talked about 54% of the response on those areas are looking to have warehouse innovation in the next 6 months. I read an article in Gartner, and it said that organizations are going to be investing specifically in warehouse management solutions from 2023 to 2029. And to further that, they're going to be investing in cloud solutions. They no longer necessarily want those on-premise solutions. They need to be cloud solutions. So that's all good news from investment. That means that organizations are investing in the ability to make their organizations more stable and also more efficient. And then when we talk about the state of supply chain, we talk about that commitment to transparency and resiliency. So talked about the investment, talked about the surveys and the proof of what organizations are saying. They're really committed to this, where prior, even if I go back 7 years and I think about organizations, they're committed, but they were kind of like, yeah, we got to make a change. We know we need to make a change. We're not quite there yet. Um, if you think about e-commerce and things like that. So if you go back 10 years and you talk to suppliers, or not even 10 years, maybe if you go back like 12 years or so and you talk to suppliers, e-commerce was a focus, but not really a focus. But then Amazon came along from their business standpoint, and then companies that supplied things like plumbing accessories had to have a website to survive. Otherwise, Amazon was going to kill them in the market. So they needed to, there's all of a sudden this boom, we need a website, because when a plumber goes out on site, they need to order their product. Well, it's the same thing about supply chain. At one point, we thought about, we can handle our supply chain by paper. We don't need systems. Yeah, we could change, but we don't really need to change. That has completely gone out the window. And that commitment to transparency and resiliency is there with organizations when it comes to supply chain. So what that means is that they need to get onto a good, strong ERP system and a flexible ERP system like NetSuite. And then they need to invest in mobile cloud solutions when it comes to warehouse management and inventory control. So that's where that innovation and investment comes in. There's increased pressure in the market. All sorts of things are happening. There is the pressure of not having enough labor. There's the pressure of taking on more and being more competitive in the market. There's the pressure of inflation when it comes to the cost of moving inventory around. There's also increased pressure with the fact that a lot of companies want to pull their manufacturing back onshore. I think that's a great thing. And so we're building, more manufacturing plants. There's different things happening. So all that pressure's in there to do that. And then when we talk about the involvement across the business functions, this isn't just the warehouse people saying we need this. This isn't just the CEOs saying that we need this. It isn't just accountants saying we need this. It's across the board. And when we talk about across the board, because everything works in a flow in NetSuite. So C-level needs to understand where the state of business is at every given time. Accounting personnel need to process accounts payable quickly, or accounts receivable quickly. So that order needs to go out quickly, so then we can collect that money faster, have money go to the bottom line, and or have that money go buy more inventory. So it's involvement across the entire organization when we look at that. So let's transition and talk a little about some new products when it comes to our smart. And I'm going to stop and talk about mobile dimensioning. So I talked about this on an earlier slide about some of the products that we've introduced this year, and one of them is called mobile dimensioning. And really what this does is it helps with shipping cost calculation. It helps with automation planning. Automation planning could be just how we're working and how we're supplying our inventory and where it needs to go, carton recommendations if we're packing product, capacity planning. When we look at warehouses, there are some warehouses that are expanding outwards, but they're mostly expanding upwards. So what that means is there needs to be a planning capability of where a certain product is going to fit. So you've got enough room for your inventory. Directed put away or slotting, that goes back to those automated storage and retrieval systems. There's certain ways that we need to plan with that. And then, of course, shipping automation. And the way it works is that you're scanning a barcode. It gives you the dimensions when you scan and the weights. It puts it right into the system. It gives you a three-dimensional picture, and then it updates NetSuite automatically. So this cuboid scanner is what allows you to do this. So as you scan the product, it goes right into NetSuite. You can see where it's got the item weight, it's got the length, it's got the height, it's got the width. This all helps with putting product away and or shipping product out. If you've ever heard of cartonization when it comes to shipping, this can certainly help with that. But the way that this works is that it connects through our automation module. So that was that module that I talked about early on. And a little bit of customer success. I love talking about customers, but I won't go through each one, but I'm going to just talk a little bit about Jenny Kane for a minute. Jenny Kane is an organization that is out in Las Vegas, and they work with our smart, right from warehouse management tools to shipping and also mobile dimensioning. So they actually use mobile robots. So it's called Six River, and you can see where they've got in brackets trucks. Really what it does is these robots need to pull inventory back and forth. So whether it's being picked or whether it's being put away. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're loading those robots appropriately. So you want the weights and the dimensions, because you don't want them taking too much and you don't want them taking not enough, because you want to keep that efficiency going. So this is where mobile dimensioning really helped Jenny Kane in this situation. And then getting on to the good stuff. So we talked about our smart. We talked about what we were known for, where we started in the market. We talked about, inventory control. We also highlighted some things that are happening in the market. So one of the other product that we introduced in September is our smart shipping. And the reason that we introduced this product is that we had organizations telling us multiple times that you've got a mobile inventory solution. It's fantastic. It works great. It'd be great if you took it right out to shipping your product, as opposed to receiving and then working with a different shipping solution. So that's what we did. We took about 18 months ago, we took the solution and built it from the ground up. It's a hybrid app into NetSuite. And what that means as an end user is that the information flows into NetSuite automatically, because NetSuite's still your system of truth. It's fast and configurable, and it's got low code, so it's becomes a little bit error proof from that standpoint. It's got automated shipping and shopping rates, which is what's important to us as an organization and business leaders. It's configurable. It's got that fulfillment process, and then it's got the dashboard. So the dashboard's great. I'll show you a shot of that as we kind of walk through it. But the idea is that it gives you all that information so you can, again, make those practices decisions, and you can see what's happening in the organization. So you can see like, whoa, what's happening here? We're using too many boxes. We're not packing them appropriately. These are all things that businesses need to know. So how does it work? It's really a scan, ship. So traditionally, when you're working with shipping products on their own, what happens is that you would scan the product, then you turn over to a keyboard, you key something into the system, you come back and scan, you turn back around, then you come back, you pull your label off, you scan it, and you put it away. So when we work with organizations and we're talking about shipping, one of the first questions that we'll ask is we'll say, how long does it take you to ship a product out? And the reply might be about 90 seconds. And if I heard 90 seconds out of the gate, I think, huh, it's pretty good. It's a minute and a half. got, 300 packages going out a day. This is what this costs. That's pretty good. Not bad. Well, what if we took that down? What if we took that down to 60 seconds? Or maybe what if we took it down to 26 seconds? Well, that's what happened at Smoky Mountain Knife. So they again use us for a lot of different areas in with our smart, and then they took on the shipping as well, and they took it on right at the holiday season in 2022. So think after that Black Friday, and then you get into Christmas. These guys are busy to begin with. Well, they're even busier. So you can see what happened in here when they took us on during this busy period. So they were pushing product out faster, 3 times faster. They shipped over 3,000 packages a day, and then they saved over 13 hours a day. So if I own an organization or if I'm a CEO or a CFO, that 13 hours a day is massive, because if you do your math on that and you are paying someone $15 an hour, $20 an hour, you're kind of saving 46,000 to maybe $60,000 a year just with one solution. Like, you've paid for that solution and more. So this is really amazing to me. It's amazing to any organization that's looking to become more efficient, because this is the idea, is that you're taking on a solution that's allowing your organization to be that much more efficient. So I'm going to walk through this a little bit. They are slides. What I'm going to recommend here is that you could look at this and think, wow, I want to look at WMS, or I want to look at shipping. And my advice to you is to talk to your folks at Meridian, and they will get you in touch with us as well. If you're not looking at NetSuite, please look at NetSuite, work with Meridian on that. And then when it comes to mobile solutions, they can get you in contact with us as well. But let's take a look, and I'm gonna talk this through a little bit with you guys. So we've got that fulfillment stage. So picture that you're in a warehouse, and I'm the picker. I've gone and got my product. It's ready to go. I've got my dashboard up, and I've got my handheld scanner. So I'm ready to scan. I go ahead and I scan the product. You can see that it's got verify the items. It's got the item numbers. It's got the descriptions. It's got the quantity amount. If there's units of measure, that's all part of it as well. If it's ready to go, I hit yes. But what if I pick the wrong product? What if I thought I picked something? Maybe it's a small nut and bolt. Maybe I didn't scan it. Maybe I thought, oh, I'll just do this and check it. When I scan it, if it's not the right product, you can tell in that red at the bottom there, it's going to tell you this didn't match. You're making a mispick. This is important to organizations because A, you don't want to send out wrong product, most importantly, because if you send that out, two things are going to happen. The person you're sending it to is going to have an issue with that. Second to that, you're going to have to pay for it to get back. That's a cost to the organization. And then third point is that if you happen to be supplying a major retailer, you're not only going to have to pay for that product to get back and get reshipped again, you're going to get fined, because retailers will charge you or charge an organization if they're getting the wrong product, because what happens is now they've got empty shelves. So they go back and charge. So it can be costly if you're picking the wrong product, which is why scanning and verification is really important when it comes to this. If everything's ready to go, I verified my items. Let's say there's no mispicks. Then you can see at the bottom, we can add certain areas. So maybe we need a signature. We can click that. Maybe we've got some billing terms around that. Maybe we want to add a return address. Maybe where there's carrier insurance. Maybe we want to get it out there on a Sunday morning. There's labels to be printed. There's all sorts of ways that you can work with this to put in other attributes to the shipment that you're sending out. Then items ready to go. So all packed. Here we go. There's our items ready to go. We've got it in box number 1. Now the organization trusts me. I'm ready to ship the product. And now I'm going to pick from a rate shopping. So then, in this case, it's showing FedEx and USPS. We work with UPS as well. DHL's coming into play. There's a bunch of carriers that we have in there too that might be more local carriers and stuff. But the idea here is scan, ready to go. I'm going to do my rate shopping. Here we are. Do I check? I mean, maybe I'm going to pick the 752, but maybe I need to get it there quicker. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But as an organization or working for the organization, I'm going to make the right choice. So maybe I click on that 752. It comes up. the label comes out as soon as I do that, and then I place it on my box and it goes and it's ready to go. So that shipment has been successful. From a NetSuite perspective, what's happening is that information flows right into NetSuite. You can see the product that's been picked, what's on hand. So, hey, if I'm looking at that area, I'm looking at what's hand. There's my quantity that I've shipped and it's item fulfillment. And then I go back over here and I can see at the very top where it says shipped, because now I've scanned it, the label's been put on, it's gone. So think about what we did a few minutes ago. And then here's my shipment. It's got my tracking number that's highlighted in orange. It's got the shipment number, which in this case is 6437. It's got the total cost over to the right and the rate charges. And then it updates the NetSuite as a shipped product. You can see that right here. And then you can see over to the right, that 394834. There's my packet, my tracking number. I can hyperlink into that. Takes me right back to the rate. For the organization, the way that your rates are put onto here are the rates that you've negotiated with FedEx or UPS or USPS. So those are your rates that are coming up here when it comes to that rate shopping piece of it. And then I can look at the history. Here's our day. You know, these are the packages that we shipped out. These ones were successful. Whoops, we had a couple of voids there, but you can see that it gives you all the information from that standpoint of what's happened in the history of that dashboard. And then when we look at the dashboard, we can see that average cost. This is where we can make proactive decisions, or maybe we want to change something. Here we are. There's our average shipment cost for the day, which is $13.20. We've done 35 shipments. 8 of them weren't shipped. Carrier spend, shipments by user, who did what, because we've got that audible piece in there. We look over at the map and we can understand that we have shipped, you know, more to California, or maybe there's more areas, and you can see where it'll highlight up. And of course, you know, these are snapshots, but there's a live version. And then over to the bottom left, you can see that box type usage. So you can see how many boxes we use from a medium and small standpoint. This helps with capacity planning, because often, you know, these are expenses that organizations take on, that box that we're packing. So it's important to pack it correctly. And then you can see shipments by carrier service at the top. It's all color coded, so you can see who you're using more. Maybe you're using someone more and you want to negotiate better rates with them. This is all information that is given to you. But on that note, that is a very, very high level screenshotted view of how the shipping solution works here at RF Smart. As I said, we would love to show you this, or even if you want to look at everything from warehouse management all the way through, or if you're just looking for a shipping solution, you could definitely depend on us. If you're looking for a NetSuite solution, that's where you want to work with the folks at Meridian, and they'll be able to help you there. And if you want to get in contact with us, of course, you can talk to Meridian and they will help facilitate that. But I will turn that back over to you, Jenny.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ruth, for that presentation about RF Smart and your NetSuite warehouse management, pick, pack, and shipping solutions. It's very informational and awesome to hear. If you want to go ahead and go to the next slide. So we are experts in all phases of ERP. We assess, transform, and support your company and help you move into the future with a unified cloud solution. Our full service professional services and NetSuite expertise help you at every stage, no matter where you're at. Our robust expertise cloud platform supports the back office and front office functions and is trusted by over 31,000 customers of every size and every industry across the globe. Meridian is a trusted solutions provider dedicated to deliver constantly innovating and utilizing proven methodology structure to guide our projects. We are focused on achieving value for our clients. If you want to go ahead to the next slide. This is just to wrap up our webinar today. If you have any questions from this webinar, you would like more information about Meridian or RF Smart, if you're wanting a specific, more in-depth demo from RF Smart's shipping solutions or any of the other tools that they have that you're able to utilize, as well as a NetSuite demo, you are more than welcome. Please reach out to either online, meridianbusiness.com, and submit your information through there on our contact us page, or you can email us directly at sales@meridianbusiness.com, and we'll get you in contact with the right person to help you with your business needs. Again, thank you, Ruth, so much with RF Smart. And thank you all for joining. You have a great day.